Hello and welcome to this tutorial for 3D World magazine. What we're going to do over the course of the next few videos is explore how I would approach taking a concept like this and recreating it in 3D so we end up with something like this. Now, as you can see, this isn't going to be an absolute direct one-for-one recreation, mainly because the concept is quite stylized. So recreating this fully in 3D would result in a portrait that just looks a little bit odd. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as the basis. So we'll use the proportions, the hairstyle, that sort of thing, and get the general look and feel of this concept. But we'll use more advanced systems like a proper skin shader. We'll use XGen to generate the hair and the eyelashes and the eyebrows. And we'll apply proper textures and things. Now I'm going to give myself a head start with this project, and I'm going to use a model that I built previously, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing this. In fact, as a digital artist, over time you should build up a library of assets that you can reuse, like hands and feet, more generic things like limbs and a head, something that you can, like I am here, just using as a head start. Now there is a time-lapse video for this because this was originally created for another 3D World tutorial back in 2016, so that you're up to date with how I got to this stage. So the next stage is I need my reference in the scene. And as you can see, I've already got that here. It's overlaid on top of Maya and it's set to always be on top. Now what I'm using is an application called Quadro. And this is a really nice free application, and it allows you to load in all your reference material and position it all around your screen, and then you've got lots of different options available to you. So because my model's primarily grey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the concept to grayscale 2. And again, that's really easy to do using Quadro. I can just toggle grayscale here. So now that gives me a better representation of the model that I'm working on, so that I can focus more on the shapes and forms rather than getting bogged down in colours. So I'm just going to adjust the torso now. I'm going to use the soft selection tool. So I'm just going to hold down B with my middle mouse button. I can increase the fall off for that. I'm just going to get a general sort of scale of the actual torso itself. So just adjust this a little bit more. And again, we need the neck to be longer as well. But this is just a general. We're just playing around here, just getting the basic proportions. So I'm just going to hide the eyes as well, so we can just focus on the main model. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to now use the grab tool, which is part of Maya's sculpting tool set. And again, I can hold down B and I can adjust the scale, and I'm just going to turn on symmetry so that we're working on both sides of the model. And if I hold down Shift, that changes the grab tool to a smooth tool. So I'm just going to quickly soften these areas around here. Looking at the concept, we don't need any of this detail just yet. Like I say, we're just working on getting the general shapes and proportions in. As you can see, using the grab tool allows me to just pull around the model as if it was made of clay. So it just makes things a lot easier and quicker. So I just need to thin out the neck, soften the back here, and adjust that topology. And again, just adjust this just to thin out the neck again. Let's close that down. Let's start to work on the face. And obviously this needs a lot of work. The original model, the proportions, they're not right anyway, so we do need to fix those. But this is a stylized portrait, so it doesn't really matter for now. We're going to be able to change and fix those as we go. Just adjust the strength just to make it a bit stronger. So let's see if we can make those eyes a bit bigger. And just pulling these around, just trying to get the general shape. As you can see with the grab tool, it's just very easy to just go in and pull and push all those proportions. So now you get the general idea. I'm just going to speed the video up a little bit. I will still talk in, some of the main techniques and things, but obviously watching the next few hours of video of me just doing it at this speed would be quite boring. So I'm just going to speed it up from here. So that's better. So it's a bit faster now, but you can still see what I'm doing and how I'm working. So again, just still using the grab tool, just pulling and pushing those proportions around. I'm not looking to get an exact match at this stage. I just want a general overview, something that then I can work on and go in and adjust in finer detail. And that's what I'm doing now. You see, I've switched to vertex mode or component mode, and now I'm going in and tweaking them on a vertex level. And again, soft selection works really nicely. It's like using the grab tool, the sculpting tool, but you can be almost a bit more precise with the areas that you're working on. So let's take a look at these eye models. Well, as you can see, my original models, the proportions are all over the place. So I'm just going to quickly edit those down. The actual back of the eye is far too big. And this is just a case of just scaling it down. But if you don't want to use this model that's supplied, feel free to use your own. Doesn't really matter. As you can see now, we just want the eye model in there, so then we can form the eyelids around the actual eye and they fit better. So we're getting those spherical sort of eyelids. And again, just because I edited the eye, I need to adjust the pivot as well. And don't be afraid to go in and add in more geometry. Like here I've added in an extra edge loop because we need to add in that crease on the corner of the eye. And again, back to the grab tool just to work on this and reshape it. So create the other eye. And she is looking a bit odd, but we are still just in the early stages. So add some more edge loops around the nose just to enhance that crease. I prefer to use the Connect Component tool to select a series of edges. Then you use the tool and it adds in the edges for you. It just means rather than with the multi-cut tool, again, you can sort of guide where the edges are going. So let's follow that edge loop round onto the chin and add in some more around here. We're just trying to clean up this topology, and we're also trying to follow natural muscle lines so we can get those cheekbones, we can get the crease on the side of the nose. Just adding another edge loop around the eye as well. It just means we can enhance the eyelids a little bit more too. So just work on the nose now. Just clean up that topology, so adjust the top, the bridge of the nose. Just need to bring this in slightly. As you can see, it's just reworking areas, adjusting the topology, just tweaking and adjusting just to get the general shape that we're after. And like I said at the beginning of the video, we're not after a one-for-one match. We do want to get quite close to looking the same, but because we're going from 2D to 3D, there is going to be differences. Plus we're looking at a grayscale model. Once the skin shaders are applied, her eyebrows, eyelashes and her hair, the whole face shape changes as well. So we've got to keep that in mind as we're modelling. Still not happy with the shape of this eye, just make it a little bit smaller. That's a bit better. So we'll just add some more edge loops around here, just try and clean up the jaw area. So I think you get the general idea with where I'm going with this. So I'm just going to let the video run for a little while and we will pick things up in a minute or two. So what I think I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to import the concept as an image plane, and I'm going to place it behind the model. Now, because we're trying to get a close match, this allows me to overlay the model on top of the actual concept. Now, as we can see, there are lots of differences here. The eyes are pretty much okay, but I can then use the grab tool in another window and then move the model around, again, just adjusting those proportions, just trying to get a closer match. Now, you're not going to get an exact match because using X-ray mode, you can't exactly see the model. But then when you switch off X-ray mode, then you can't see the image plane. So it's just to give you a rough idea of the outline. Try and work on the silhouette and the key features, just trying to get those to match. So I'll just let the video run for a little while. And there we go. This stage of the modelling is done. And like I said earlier, we're just after a rough... And like I said earlier, we're just after the general shape. We're not... And like I said earlier, we're just after the general shape here. We're not after a perfect match. What we're going to do in the next video is apply a set of UVs, and then that'll allow us to texture, and then we can play around with the actual skin shaders. And like I said earlier, that will change how the model looks and how the surface looks. So again, then because we were at the stage where we are now, even though we've applied UVs and we've added a texture, we can still make minor model tweaks to adjust those proportions. So there I think we'll leave the modelling where it is. She's not exactly where I want it to be just now, but like I said earlier, once we start to work on the skin shader and the hair and the lighting, the way this model is going to look is going to change. So what we're going to do in the next video is we're going to apply the UVs. Then we can start to think about building the actual skin shader, adding the lighting to the scene. Because we're leaving the model where it is now, we're quite happy the way things are looking. She's looking close to the concept. But what it means is we can apply the UVs and the shaders and the textures, and we can even apply the XGen hair. And then later on, when we've got the camera set up with all the lighting and everything, we can go in and we can make slight model tweaks without worrying about texture distortion or anything like that. So long as we keep them small, it should be fine. So that's the first video over. I'll see you on the next one.